Hi and welcome to this week's Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday, the 6th of March. So, looking firstly at the fundamentals coming out this week, there's some key numbers coming out, particularly interested in the cash rates. So the Aussie cash rate 330 tomorrow morning. Shan't be getting up to trade it, but there certainly will be some volatility around there. As we've seen the Aussie at the moment, it it's been pushing up pretty strongly. Any hawkish remarks coming through from the rate statement could see the Aussie push up even further. We'll come on to that in the technicals in a minute, but that's one of the key numbers. Of course, the ECB press conference occurs this week as well on Thursday. 1:30 we'll have the press conference, but before that we'll have the, as expected, 0.0 minimum bid rate. So we can't see anything changing there, but there could be people will be listening out for comments from Draghi on the 1:30 press conference. So aside of the bank rates for this week, of course, next week the markets are looking forward to the 15th when the US will be the FOMC will be meeting, should I say, and it's widely expected from last week's comments from Janet Yellen that March may be the first interest rate increase of this year. Even some of the less hawkish guys have been suggesting it, although one or two may be voting against it. So it'll be interesting to see how we go. And I think this Friday's non-farms will be quite pivotal in that, in terms of the average hourlies. If all the jobs are lining up nicely, still decent employment, and the average hourly earnings increasing, that's still the key factor here. If that's pushing up, then I think it'll make it a lot easier for them to increase it in March, and we'll probably see the reaction more likely coming forward than next week. However, people will still be looking forward to the following week for signs of more increases and less steady. So the words that you use are really important. So other things this week, we've of course got the ADP non-farm rolls, non-farm payrolls coming out on Wednesday, which gives us a bit of guidance of volatility. But before that comes out, 12:30, we've got the annual budget release at 12:30 for the UK. So again, it could create some volatility through the market. Often, because it's forecasts, things will create a move. However, traders are trading on actuals often, so the forecast may, as I say, may give the market a bit of volatility, but not necessarily give trend. Aside of that, UK-wise also, we've got manufacturing production on the Friday. So a few key figures looking to watch out for this week. I expect it will be a week of volatility followed by consolidation, followed by volatility as these news events occur. Might not be the simplest, but we'll see as we run through. Now let's have a look at the technicals. And looking at euro dollar first, actually here, and you can see the pattern here. Last week we ended up on a positive bar here. As we come down to the dailies, it's still been lower highs, lower lows running through the market. Apart from Thursday, it double bottomed, may have given us a pivot swing reversal here. We've run into the monthly pivot this morning. Bit ugly movements this morning, but the overall range of this today so far is light. Could be on for a bit more reversal if we start closing above that a monthly pivot. There's certainly chance for further upside, but lots of things can be crushed this week. I'm a bit wary of what will happen, but I'll certainly be more bullish above that monthly pivot on the euro. Looking at the pound dollar, and really it looks a bit ugly. We've got a bearish pivot, weekly pivot swing that sits in there. Looks quite ugly at the moment from a daily perspective. Not looking quite so bad potentially. It has actually, I did have a quick measure earlier on and noticed that the sort of it's done an ABC move going down there of a 1-to-1 in terms of the waves there. Maybe that's rolled over. We have got the weekly pivot above, which may provide us a target to the upside, and of course an untouched monthly pivot at the moment, so it could get back into that range. In terms of measuring the previous month, I say months, it was months actually, most of that range there, measured that range and put it on there, and we came up just short of it. So any rollovers, well, potentially down to the medium and below. We're watching the whole number at 122. Again, that sort of area will be key. Now, to the upside though, well, potential if it starts rolling, anything positive comes out of this week, or dollar negative, it may be. We could, as I say, see the weekly pivot and monthly pivot hit, and potentially could be get into this range again and maybe even break out. But I think that may be wishful thinking to a degree, but we'll see. Stranger things have happened. Looking at dollar yen, last week I was looking for the break of the 21 moving average, and in fact it just sat on it again and bounced off it. Wasn't it a bit of an expectation at this time of year to see some money flows as the you see yen repatriation as the companies are reporting, and perhaps they're leaving it to a bit later in the month as they're seeing, or doing it very slowly as they're seeing the yen weaken against the US dollar. Looking at the pattern here, I was just looking at the potential. To me, there is certainly the weakness that's showing from a daily perspective for the 50 moving average still rounding to the downside. Now there are some sort of signals within this in terms of that may contradict the move. We're already bullish against above the monthly pivot. There's the chances it could just it's just short of the weekly or around about the weekly there. If it bounces off that and pushes back up, well, we could be breaking out of this channel and pushing up again. However, any break below that monthly pivot, I'm certainly a bit more bearish on the markets there. Looking at the Aussie dollar, and well, let's just come to the weekly first. Had one hell of a kicker up there. Last week we saw almost back to the weekly 21. It was just shy of that 21. May still want to come back and test it. Very dependent on news tomorrow. It's very difficult to work out which way this is going to go. But technically, if we manage to break back up above that monthly pivot and we're just shy of the weekly pivot at the moment, but if it pushes up through those pivots and gets back above that monthly pivot, well then at those sort of levels we could be onto those prior highs and maybe beyond. Certainly some positive sort of technical indicators sort of happening. The 50 crossing the 200 on the dailies here, all a bit positive, but that's not to say it wouldn't come back and test those levels first, or maybe even break them. And finally, the Canadian dollar. Let's just go up. Now I've left this channel on, regression channel, and it's back in the regression channel. It looks like it wants to head back to the midpoint at this rate. Certainly sort of a bullish week last week. The Canadian dollar lost a lot of ground against the US. However, as we move into this week, we are quite overbought into these sort of signals here I'm getting. Certainly an overbought signal coming through earlier. Haven't really seen a true reversal signal of it yet. However, the shooting star on Friday might have been a starter. I was quite bearish this morning, although it seems to be wanting to mess around a little bit at the moment today. Still got a weekly pivot below us, and well, if it starts pushing down there, maybe coming back for that monthly pivot that's even further below. As I say, to me, it's got pretty overbought into these areas. That's not to say it won't continue, unfortunately, but I was looking for something else in terms of giving us the clue here. Now, it may be that wants to pull back a little bit, push up, give us some sort of divergence, in which case I'll be much keener to look. But at the moment, I'm still erring and having an idea of looking for the short side here. Now, all this is, I say all of this, one thing I don't normally take a lot of notice is the dollar index, because it can be such a, well, it's just an inverted euro mostly, but in fact, if I've got the right one on here, I'll use the one I was using earlier on, there we go. However, just sort of looking at, well, it's been edging its way back up, the dollar, in this respect, but overall, in the bigger picture, it's a bit messy here, these sort of high tails on the top here, or high shadows, whatever you want to call them, wicks. Not managing on any of these past 3 weeks to really hold on to its gains, falling off a bit last week in the end. And I do wonder whether we'll see a bit of a breakdown here. Now, I say it all depends, but we may see signals if we had a weak jobs front coming in this week, and it may break down. Still got an untouched monthly pivot below us, which we could just see a bit of a correction down to that anyway. If investors or traders get a little bit nervous beforehand, it's quite interesting to see Friday's nervy sort of move there. But we'll see how things roll out. But this is all okay. As I say, it's normal. Is it because the euro represents such a large proportion of the index? It sort of gets a bit spoilt, but it's still giving us that same sort of, giving me the idea that maybe we could see a rollover here. So that's where we are, pretty much. If you need a daily update, of course, they've got the daily outlook that comes out every morning on our web page under the blog. So that's available for you for the additional weekly updates. Okay, that's it for me. Have a great one. Bye for now.